And we all know, or hopefully knew, that the mean is the arithmetic average. And we're going to use a new symbol that you probably didn't see in middle school, which is called x bar. So it's the variable x with a line over top of it. Hence, we call it x bar. And whenever you see x bar, you're going to know that that means the mean. Okay? Can't use m for mean, because what does m stand for?
Slope.
Slope. Good. The median is the numerical middle value when the data values are arranged in ascending or descending order. And then the second sentence just describes what we do when we have two numbers. So if there are an even number of values, the median is the mean of the two middle values. And then the mode is the value that is repeated most often in the data set. You can have one mode, you can have more than one mode, or you can have no mode. If you have no mode, make sure you say no mode. Don't say zero, because that's then stating that you are saying zero occurs the most often. So if you have two digits that are repeated the same amount, then you would have two different modes, and that can happen. That's okay. All right, so mean, median, mode. Got it? So if I give you a set of data, you should be able to find all three of these, hopefully. We'll test your ability. See how your calculator button pushing works. For everyone to get there.
My hand cramped up.
Yeah, so you guys can warm up your fingers. You're going to do a lot of writing, a lot of button pushing. All right, so here's your first set of numbers. 45, 39, 40, 41, 42, 37, 41, 41, and 40. We're going to end up finding all three things. So let's first go ahead and find the mean. So I'll do it. So we can come up with the same number. So to find the mean, what are we going to do? Add them all together and divide by how many we have. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What are you guys getting? 40.67? So 40.67 if we round it. Really that 0.666666 repeating is what fraction? 2/3, right? Yeah, so really it's 40 2/3, but we'll round it to 40.67. Okay, so now how do we find the median? So we first need to make sure our numbers are in order. Are my numbers in order? No. What's my smallest number up there? All right, so I'm going to do 37. Then what's next? 39. So the median's probably the most annoying measure to find because you have to line them all up. 2 40s?
Yep.
3 41s. And then a 42. And then a 45. So since we have 9 digits, am I going to have a middle value? Yes. Okay. And if you literally would just check off, 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 you get to your middle one. Yeah, that is pretty Christmassy, huh? My median would be what?
41.
Good. So my median, if you want to abbreviate, you can just do MED, is 41. What would be the mode?
41.
Yeah. Your mode is 41 because that's the one that is occurring most often. It didn't ask for it, but how would I find the range? What's your largest number? 45 minus 37, which is 8. So my range would be 8. Good. Okay. Mean, median, mode. So far, so good. Oops, come back. All right, so here we're going to look at some salaries. It says the salaries at a small business with 7 employees are as follows. So we have $255,000 one person is making. I would prefer to be them. Can we take a guess who that person is? Probably the guy in charge, right? If you look at the other ones. 32,000, 30,000, 28,000, 24,000, 22,000, and 22,000. So go ahead and find the mean, median, and mode of those 7 salaries. You can do that on your own. They have it already listed in descending order, so that's nice. You don't have to rearrange to find the median. What'd you guys get for the mean?
59.
Yeah, that's what I got too. 59,000. Numbers are already lined up for us, so what's the median? 28? Yeah. And then the mode? So, if you had to pick one of these measures to best represent a typical salary, which one would you pick? The what? Would you pick the mean, median, or mode?
Mean.
If you went with the mean, are most of your salaries around 59,000? No. So if I said that on average the salaries are 59,000, that would give me a bit of a skewed perspective because I would be thinking that more people would be making closer to 59 and they're not. So then we can look at the median or the mode. The mode represents 2 of the lowest salaries. So would that be representative of the whole situation? No. So probably the median would represent the best. So explain which measure best represents a typical median. Because It is representative of most employees' salaries. All right, so we're going to pause from this for a second. If you've seen frequency tables before, what does the word frequency mean? Amount of time something is happening, right, is your frequency. So when you have a frequency table, well, it's going to be a table that lists the number of times or the frequency that each data value appears. And sometimes you can use or frequencies tables to come up with your measures of central tendency a little bit easier. It's just a way to organize your information. So if we were to create a frequency table, then use that frequency table to find the mean, median, and mode, it might make it a little bit easier on ourselves. So frequency table is a table that lists the number of times or frequency that each data value appears. All right, so if I give you the following set of data, don't write all this down. We'll just go through it and make the table together. I'm going to make a frequency table for the data below, which is the number of books read by 30 students. So right here is our 30 students. Well, what's the smallest number of books that have been read? 0. Shame on those students, right? So on our table, we're going to have number of books, and then we're going to have the frequency. So count how many zeros we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, looks like 7. Sometimes it helps people to make tally marks. How many students read one book? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many students read 2 books? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 books? 1, 2, 4. I'm running out of space. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have any 5s? 5s will be 0. I'm going to go over here. I'm running out of space. 6 is just 1. Okay, so that would be my frequency table. So then how would I be able to find the mean? Well, 0 7s would add up to what?
0, 7, 0.
0, right? So then what we need to do is we need to find the product of those numbers. So 0 times 7 is 0. If I had 9 1s, what would that add up to? 9. 1 times 9. If I had 7 2s, what would that add up to? 14. 7 times 2. If I had 2 3s, that would add up to 6. 4 4s would add up to 16. 0 5s would be 0, and 1 6 would be 6. Hopefully you guys have that all the way down. So then what could I do with my products? I could add all those together and then divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 products, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So 0 plus 9 plus 14 plus 6 plus 16 plus 0 plus 6 divided by, what did we say, 7? Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So we get 7.3 about. So our mean is about 7.3 books. So we could say, on average, the 30 students read 7.3 books. Okay? So that's how you can use a frequency table. So you can list them out, find your frequencies, and then take them as a product. Now, sometimes they might give you something that's called a grouped frequency table, and this is what this would look like. Let's look at one that looks a group. Keep going. There we go. So this would be a grouped frequency. So this represents the number of cups of coffee. So in the first group, that represents how many cups of coffee? So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So there were 2 people who had somewhere between 0 and 3. 4 through 7, there were 3 people. 8 through 11, there were 8. 12 through 15, there were 3. 16 through 19, there were 2. How would I be able to find the average numbers of cups of coffee consumed using a grouped frequency table? What would I take the product of? Before we just took 0 times 2. Well, how do you know which number to pick in that group? You don't pick the larger one. You're going to pick the average of it, the middle of it, right? So 0 plus 3 divided by 2 is what? 1.5. So then I would take 1.5 and multiply that by 2, which is 3. 4 plus 7 divided by 2. So half of 11 is 5.5. So then I would take 5.5 and then multiply that by 3 and get whatever that number is. 8 plus 11 is 19. What's half of 19? 9.5, right? So then we would take 9.5 times 8 and get whatever that number is, and then so forth. So this would be what? 13.5? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17.5. So then you would find your products, and then what would you do with these numbers? Add them and then divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does anybody actually need me to do it? Okay, so for your homework, you're going to need to be able to find mean, median, modes of things. You're going to need to be able to make a frequency table. And you might also need to be able to make a grouped frequency table where you have to pick the groups that you want to create. Okay? So try out the homework for tonight. Come in with any questions that you might have, specifically to the frequency tables. Some of them have unknown parts